Yashodanandana Vrajajana
Yashodanandana Vrajajana
Yashodanandana Vrajajana
Yashodanandana Vrajajana
Yashodanandana Vrajajana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Nitai Gauri Bo, Hare Baba, Hare Baba, Hare Baba.
Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo.
Astotra Satat Sistavan is divine grace is come see Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaja Jai Jai Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivrata Pachanga Astotra Satat Systematic divine grace of the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Ananta Kodi Vaishnavini ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kahao se Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda se Advaita Gadadhara se Vasari se Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki Jai se Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Shyamkunda Radha Kunda Kirita ki Jai se Vrindavan Dham ki Jai se Mathura Dham ki Jai se Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki Jai se Jaganapuri Damke, Gangamaya Yamunamanke, Sumatatot Devi Bhakti Devi, Sama Veda Bhakti Veda, Nitai Gaur Premanand. Our glory is to the sum of the devotees. Our glory is to the sum of the devotees. Our glory is to the sum of the devotees. Our glory is all blessed as a Guru and Guru. Who is it in translation work? Which translation? Huh? Nobody? Everybody speaks English?
Come treba prevoditi?
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishaya Bhutale Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Prachari Nirvisesha Sanyavadi Prasad Vancha Kalpatari Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
You translate? Who is translating? Everybody understands English, understands English? Oh, okay. This boy is offending. I didn't know. I thought I needed a translator. So welcome to this evening gathering. Topic of discussion. What is the topic? Foundations of. What is it? Hey, what's the topic? Foundations of something. I know because state governments and national governments are very much on these healthy relationships. Healthy relationships are mainly viewed from a microscopic perspective. Microscopic perspective in a sense, we have the micro approach, then the macro. The macro is the family. Now we cannot talk about the community and neglect the family, because the family is a microcosm of the community of the nation. And therefore, when we talk about healthy relationships in a community, and for us, it's a Krishna consciousness community. That sounds very much demanding. But we can't talk about community without the family, because family is the bedrock of the community. And so, the community, the term community comes from two words. Commune, which means empathic communication. To commune implies I say something. If I'm saying something, I have to put myself, I'm telling you something, I'm saying something to you. I have to put myself in your shoes. If I was in your position, if I received that message from me, how would I feel? Being empathic in communication. Put yourself in another person's shoes. And this has to do with considering the pros and cons of what we say. How will the other person feel if I were the one who has to speak this today? It happens a lot. And even our society is very much infested with unhealthy relationships. Not just all in our communities, but even in the families. I can give you an example. I was traveling in the United States, in California. I was in a city called Irvine. Actually, I went to Laguna Beach for a presentation at their Sunday Feast program. And the Laguna Beach Temple, they don't have the provisions for hosting or accommodation for sannyasis and gurus. So I was entrusted in the care of a couple, elderly couple, the grandparents, because their children are grown up, they graduated, grown up, married, they are all having their own children in their own homes. So the husband and wife, they were just by themselves. That's the elderly couple, retirees. So talking about healthy relationship. Sometimes people just tolerate each other, and they quote the Shastra, "Time to teach the Swabharata." This Krishna said, you should tolerate. But to tolerate is not enough. We are not talking about just tolerating, we're talking about love. A relationship should be based on love, not just tolerate. If we love someone, we will not say anything that will hurt them. So back to this story I'm trying to bring up. So I was interested in care of this elderly couple, and we were going for a program. Husband was driving. I was sitting with the husband in the front, and the wife was sitting behind the husband, behind the driver, and she has the directions to that home we're going. We're going for a program. And so the wife gives directions to the husband. Guess what the husband did? He completely ignored this woman. Completely ignored her. Imagine when someone ignores you, it's called an abuse. It's called emotional abuse. In America, someone ignores you, you can take them to court or call the police. Okay? Oh yeah, I'm serious. You abuse somebody emotionally or whatever it is, the victim can call the police for you, and you're going to jail because there are serious issues in America. So, we are going, and the lady was giving directions based on the information she has there. The man was ignoring. So, at some point in time, she told the husband, all right, if you're not even taking the directions from me, can you call the host, send a message to the host to send you directions, so that we don't go to the program late, because Maharaja is going to make a presentation at the program. I guess what the husband did? He did that. He sent a message to the guy, to the host, and then the host sent him directions. Exactly what the wife has. Exactly what the wife has. So he used that, and then he drove until we got to the gates of the host, where the program was to hold. So he parked the car outside, and then he alighted, got out from the car. I also got out from the car. The wife also got out. He went in to ring the bell. So he went to some distance to ring the bell. And then the wife, elderly lady, she turned to me. That was about 10 years ago. She turned to me, and then she said, so, in this world, if you're a woman, whatever you say is nonsense. So I turned to her and said, Mataji, what your husband did is very wrong. And the reason why I didn't say anything, see, I'm coming to your house for the first time. I don't know how you people are acting. I didn't want to interfere. But I can guarantee you that your husband is an abuser. When I said that, initially her face was, fuming with anger, continence. If someone is angry, you can see from their face. When I responded in that way, her face, that countenance changed. She began to smile. You don't know what she's thinking. All the men are not like that. So that's something I saw myself. So talking about the family, healthy relationship in the family. That family, they don't have a healthy relationship. No. Because it shows when even a guest is there, they don't care. The man doesn't care. And sometimes they are Indian bodies, to be precise. So I can give you examples from one country I've been to, experiences in this type of unhealthy relationship, one country after the other. So these type of relationships are not good. Because it appears that we are taking advantage of the scriptures and we can hurt somebody and then we preach to them that, this is what Christian says. You just have to tolerate me. And therefore, it is important to know that this type of attitude will not invoke trust. It will not invoke sustained, happy, loving family. If a party in the family is not happy, especially the woman is not happy, and you have kids, that unhappiness spills over to the kid. Especially if the baby is small, they are sucking from the mother's breast. Whatever the mother experiences, the baby is injected with that emotion. And therefore, we have to understand that simply preaching tolerance is not enough. It does not bring healthy relationship. We should talk about love. And love means you do something that pleases the other person. You even make sacrifices just to please the other person. And in some cases, we find that the parent thinks, especially the breadwinner thinks, I'm the boss. Whatever I say, that's it. Either my way or the highway. That's not a healthy relationship. And then we find that in our communities, we find some situations where people are not cooperating because we're coming from this type of backgrounds where we've been abused, and so we don't want to cooperate. We don't have trust in anybody. I was abused when I was a child. My mother was abused. I saw how my father was treating my mother. In some cases, it's the opposite way. The woman is abusive to the man. I remember in India, I was speaking, I went to some program, and after the program, I was speaking with a couple. They had just a little baby of maybe a few months. So I was speaking, and this is very rampant in some countries, especially also in India. So I turned to the man, I was speaking to the man, about all of these abuses and all this, because you have a baby, and so you have to do this and do that. You know what? The woman, the lady, she turned to me. She's just a kind lady. She's so nice. She confessed, Maharaja, all these things you're talking, I'm the one who does it to him. I said, now you know that is bad. So you have to change. So, talking about healthy relationships in our communities. So one of those fundamental strategies for healthy relationship is honesty. Honesty. We should be honest with ourselves and with our spouses, our children, the members of our family. We should brutally be honest. We should not play games in the family. We should not play games in the team. We should not play games in the community. We should not play games with anybody because we are all volunteers. You can manage a Fortune 500 company very easily because it's based on the boss and the employee. But here, nobody is the boss. The person who is at the head is even a servant leader. He's not being paid. Therefore, it makes it very difficult to manage a faith-based non-profit. And in ISKCON, it's even worse because in ISKCON, as soon as you stay in ISKCON for a couple of years, you read the philosophy, and people think that they know better than everybody else. So, if someone knows too much, what are you going to tell them? Therefore, it makes it even more difficult to manage a place, manage personnel in ISKCON, to lead personnel in ISKCON. Because most people think they know everything. So what are you going to tell them? But we should be honest that we don't know everything. The fundamental principle in learning is that learning is a lifelong process. We are supposed to learn about Krishna. Krishna is unlimited. And we are minute. We are finite. Krishna is infinite. So how would we ever think that we know everything? And so we should be honest with ourselves that we don't know everything. And we should open our doors to more input, to more suggestions, to more ideas. And that way we can build a community, a viral community. A community that is going to be very strong and sustainable. Because if people accept the position, I remember when I was pretty young, so I saw a publication in an academic journal. At that time, I was not even having a PhD. I saw a publication in an academic journal, and I used to preach in universities. So, and the professor who wrote that article, I know the professor. We're trying to cultivate him. He's the head of department for religion. So I saw that he made some type of silly misinterpretation or silly errors in what he says in his article. So I want to meet the editor-in-chief of the journal. So I said, "Sir, this professor, he said very nice things, but there are so many errors in this article." You know what the editor-in-chief told me? He said, "Boy, go and write a rejoinder. We want to learn. We don't know everything." This is the head of department for English language, a professor. He has a PhD in English language. That's what he said. He said, "We don't know everything." Professor, so what? We don't know everything. Go and write a rejoinder. Man, I was scared because we're going to destroy the relationship we already have with the man. We're trying to cultivate it. So here's the professor, head of department for English in a federal university. He was honest. He said, "We don't know everything." Why would we say we know everything? We should be open to learn. We can even learn from our own children. Why not? I learn from my disciples. Oh yeah. That's why sometimes I have to consult with my disciples about what to do. Because I don't know everything. Yes, I have a PhD, but so what? I don't have a PhD in management and leadership. I'm not an endocrinologist. I'm not a psychosurgeon. So how will you think that I know everything? Just because I'm a guru, I'm a Swami, I know everything? No! Let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves. We cannot know everything. We are not Krishna. So we should be open to learn. And that creates a viable future for a healthy society. When we are open to even learn from our own children, everybody has a sense of belonging. But otherwise, I have seen it in our society. When we were doing the Bhakti Vasudeva program, that was in Mayapur. One of the causes, as Swami was teaching us the course. And that thing, since 2008, it never went out from my head. A long time ago. There was a Guru Kuli, one white boy, young boy, also was doing the Bhakti Sastri. So he asked a question. And the teacher, one of the leaders of our society, he told this boy, "What do you know? Just shut up there." Oh yeah. I saw that. This is called lived experience. I'm not talking about tales. So, the parents think that they know everything. The men think that they are better than the women. See, I don't want to be, gross, but why would anyone think that we are better than anybody else? Or we think we are better than the Kamis? I met one professor in one academic conference. She's, she's not a Hindu, but in her house, she's a professor. She's the head of the department for social sciences at New York State University at the time. But when after my presentation, she came to me. She wasn't interested in my presentation. She came to me and we were discussing. And she started telling me everything about her family. Her husband is not a professor. She has 2 kids. And she told me she has everything an American needs to have in their home. She has cable, every damn thing. But she said, nobody watches television in my house. I was shocked. I was completely shocked. She said that there are specific educational programs that everybody sits down in the sitting room to watch. The American system whereby each room there is a TV. She said no. Because she's a psychologist, she said. And so she knows the implications of the tube, of the screen on human behavior. And this is something that we struggle with in this country. So it's not that we are better off than everybody else just because we chant Hare Krishna. We have an advantage that we know about Krishna. And we can always improve on our qualities based on the principle, Mama Evam So Jiva Loke Jiva Puta Sanatana. We are parts and parcels of Krishna. That is the fulcrum, that is the pivot for creating a healthy, loving relationships in our community. The Krishna factor. Other people, they don't have that knowledge. We have it, so we have to take advantage. Another point is that even your child, you may consider that child like a non-entity, doesn't know anything. It's your child now, but what about the past life? Say, 100 years ago, who was who? We don't know. Therefore, respecting people, respecting the jiva based on the identity as spirit souls enhances the ability to be able to have healthy relationships. Because if we look at people based on their physical features, their bodies, or their gender, or their age, it becomes difficult to have healthy relations. Because we'll be thinking, I'm older, I know better. And therefore, it is important we are honest with ourselves. Another point is trust. For us to have a healthy community, there is a need to trust each other. Now, there are special factors that facilitate the trust factor. And one of them is that there should be, if we want someone to trust us, we should be consistent. Say, we have a pujari. And then, Most days he does not come without any announcement whether he was going to come to take care of this or not. He doesn't show up. How is the management? How is the temple president? How are the devotees going to trust? Okay, you say the manager is traveling away. How is he going to entrust the deities into this care of this pujari? Because it's not consistent. Consistency is a major factor in facilitating trust in relationship. Another factor is expertise. We go to the doctor, we trust the doctor because of their competency. So we go to the doctor for diagnosis. We don't go to meet anybody when we're sick. We go to meet the doctor. Why? Because we understand he or she has the competence. Competency is another factor. If we want trust, which is an enabling factor for healthy relationship. In fact, all relationships, one of the major pivot in a healthy relationship is trust. You trust your husband, you trust your child, you trust your wife. Therefore, you don't create a police system, or you don't put what do you call electronic distance on the leg of your spouse to watch where they're going, because you trust them. And humans, we are prone to trust people. I'll give you an example. See, people go to parties. I don't know what is obtainable here in Croatia, but in America, people go to parties and they drink and dine, and then just a man and a woman become attracted to each other, and then they go home to sleep with each other. Why? They trust this person is not going to kill me. So trust is something inherent in us. Why? Because the jiva trusts Krishna. That's why the jiva, the pure devotee, give their lives to Krishna, because they trust Krishna. So that trust is not only in Krishna. We trust also other human beings. It's just that people need to demonstrate that, look, I am worthy of trust. The trustworthiness has to be demonstrated by being consistent, by having the adequate competency to be able to deal with the situation. So trust is an element that we need in building healthy relationships in our communities. Because if we don't trust each other, then it becomes difficult to cooperate. It becomes difficult to hear each other. Another factor is psychological safety. That is a facilitator for healthy relationships in communities, even in the family. If there is no psychological safety, people are afraid to air their views. Because if I say something, I can be punished by the GBC, I can be punished by the temple president, I can be punished by the regional secretary or whatever. So, we need psychological safety. Psychological safety means I have that courage to say something without being afraid of getting punished. So if there is psychological safety in our communities, in our movement, then people are free to air their views because we are volunteers. And even in the companies, there is always psychological safety. Why? Because that is the propelling force for innovative ideas and high performance. Someone says something, there is an obstruction in the performance or in the productivity, and then a worker who observes that says something, or this colleague is the one who has created that obstruction, and then the management has to deal with it. He's not punished because he says something that will facilitate high productivity, because someone is being obstructed. So even in our relationships, in our movement, in our communities, or even in the families, there is a need to have that psychological safety. People should be allowed. Even your child, not because he's a child, he says something, he says, shut up there. You don't know I'm your dad. You cannot say anything in this house. I'm your mom. Shut up there. You can't say anything. You just be quiet. Just sit down there. Eat. When you eat, you go to school, you come here, just keep quiet. We are not prisoners. Even the child is not a prisoner. And so, when we allow people to be able to feel free, they have a better sense of belonging. And they can grow healthy, they can grow up healthy, and become agents of healthy relationships in the community, in the country. Because that is the way they were trained, that is the way they were grown. Oh yeah. We want healthy relationships. We have to understand that there is every need to have shared responsibilities. Shared responsibilities means we don't allow just one person to work their ass and we sit back to enjoy the results. Everybody has to participate. Has to take up some responsibility. We should do something that will help to leverage the Krishna consciousness, spreading of the Krishna consciousness in split. Don't leave it to any one person or a couple. And sometimes even instead of appreciating what people are doing, we criticize. That's not being fair. Yes, we can criticize somebody, but the criticism should be constructive. Constructive criticism is different from destructive criticism, because constructive criticism means you find something that could help make an input in this person's service and you suggest to them, I think if you add something like this or you do it like this, it will even improve your service more. You don't come and say, oh, what you're doing is just nonsense. This is not what Prabhupada wants. What do you want? What have you got to contribute? I remember my Guru Maharaja, if you go to complain about a devotee, then he will ask you, so what's the solution? What will you suggest? What solution are you proffering? Yes, this question is, what is the solution you're proffering? If you don't have a solution to proffer, just shut up. Because we are volunteers. We're not being paid. Even in the companies where people are being paid, you don't just go and criticize somebody unnecessarily. You have a good cause to say something, provide a solution to it in a friendly, loving way, not in a destructive way. We're not saying that we just have to be like dumb people. We should be constructive and add something. Whatever we want to say about someone's service, we have to ask ourselves, how will this improve our relationships? How will this improve in this person's service? If we don't have that type of objectivity, then it becomes like a disservice. Also, we need to understand that healthy relationships are essential in everyday dealing, and one of those factors that help in creating a healthy relationship is participative leadership. Participative leadership means that there is a shared leadership process. Say in a family, you know, because say you're the breadwinner and you come and order everybody, you say, this is what I want. That's not a family. It's authoritarianism. A family means that husband and wife come together to discuss, to brainstorm, and make decisions. Oh yeah. Because two heads are better than one. You may be the breadwinner, so what? You're not the breadwinner for the brain. You may be the winner for the cash. What about the decision? What about ideologies about improving the values of the family? And sometimes, the unfortunate thing is, in most cases, we never took any courses before we get into marriage. And then we start producing children without taking any courses that have to do with child development. And I see so much of child abuse in the whole world, not only in ISKCON. Yeah. Because in most cases, people marry, they don't understand, the man doesn't understand any dime of women's psychology. The woman doesn't understand any iota of men's psychology. They feel, well, I got my degrees, I got a good job, I got a big house, I got big cars, time to settle down. I need a wife. Okay, got a wife. Okay, we got a wife, got a husband, time to have children. I want 10 children. They have no idea of what child developmental psychology is. And then so the child is born, and then they start experimenting on this child. It becomes like an object of experiment. This is saddening. When the child is not even understood. Now, from age 1 to 5, there's a way to deal with the child. From 6 to 10, there's a way to deal with the child. From 11 to 15, there's a way to deal with the child. From 16 up, there's a way to deal with the child. How are we going to have healthy families or healthy community when the child is not given attention based on their age? When you're not provided with the psychological support. It's not only just about giving plenty of money to your child or buying a car to your child to drive to school. It takes a lot of things. Because that child grows up to constitute the community. And what they experience in the family is what they are going to inject into the community. That is how they are going to treat other people who come their way. So, this is a very expansive topic. The person who suggested it and who kindly did a good job, but it's a very expansive topic. Very, very wide. So, shared or participative servant leadership. We are supposed to be, if you ask most people in our movement, even those who are in position, GBC, regional directors, whatever, you ask most of the people who are in position of power in our movement, what leadership model you are using. When organizations are sustained in terms of progress, innovation, and high performance and productivity, they follow specific leadership model. And then it becomes a scientific system. To manage and to lead, it becomes valued scientific system. Otherwise, everything else becomes like a trial and error. In mathematics, we have a system where you can solve your problem through trial and error. But you may always get it wrong because you try this, it doesn't work, then you try this. It doesn't work, then you try this. But if you know the formula, it makes it pretty easy. There are ways to develop healthy relationships in a Krishna conscious community. And I just gave some of them. One of them I'm talking about right now is participative leadership. Participative leadership, especially participative servant leadership. A servant leader is one who listens. It doesn't say, I know everything. When the family is grooming, it means the parents also engage their kids, especially the ones who are over 7, in decision making. I give an example. Say the parents are working here in Split. They have been transferred to Zagreb. Should they tell their 7 years old or 6 years old daughter that they are moving to Zagreb? Should they tell them? 6 years old girl. Should I tell her? Should I sit her down and discuss with her that, hey, we're going to be living to Zagreb? Why? Why should I tell her that? She's just a small girl now. Isn't it? I should just bottom line and then say, hey, we're going for the trip. And this is what some people do. They take the child into the plane. They tell them, we're going to visit your uncle. When they're on the plane, they say, we're not going back. I'm on transfer. So that's not a healthy relationship between a child and a parent. We should not look at the child based on their bodies. We should try to see the soul. We should try to reflect on even the child as a soul. This is the problem. A soul, not the body. The ladies, not the body. If you look at the body, you just see some boobs. That's it. So the Paramahamsa devotee, he pays obeisance even to the dogs. Why? He's not seeing the body of the dog. He's seeing the super soul. On Govardhan Hill, the lions and the deers, they live together. They party together. Have you seen lions and deer partying together? No, a deer is a prey to the lion. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he engaged the deers and the lions to chant and dance. So we have all of this in our tradition. Here is a call to honor the tradition of the fact that Lord Krishna is sitting there, super soul in each and every one's heart. Lord Krishna mentioned that. He is a super soul located in everyone's. That is the identity we should assign to everybody. Not these bodies, not this age, not gender. Otherwise, the yearning for sustainable relationships may be difficult. Because we will see people based on their age and their bodies and their gender. There's no Krishna factor there. If we try to evaluate people based on their spiritual reality, we can appreciate their part and parcel of Krishna. And serve them the way we serve our spiritual masters. Then there will be healthy relationship. Because a relationship cannot be healthy when there is no service. And sometimes we serve our gurus very nicely, but then, we neglect to serve every other devotee. It shouldn't be like that. Because Lord Krishna mentions in his conversation with Arjuna in the Purana, that those who claim to be his devotees are not his devotees. Those who are devotees, who are serving the devotees of his devotees, they are the devotees. So it is important for us to understand that the Krishna factor is something that creates that type of cohesion, cooperation, unity, despite the diversity, despite the differences. And we can be healthy when we make Krishna the center of our relationships, the center of our communities. And we do something to somebody, we should think we are doing this to Krishna. Oh yeah, because that's what basically implies. And how can we really think that we are pleasing somebody, or this person is our friend, and we don't treat their kids nicely. Can you imagine that? No, it doesn't work in that way. If you love me, love my dog. If you love somebody, love their kid. We are all part and parcel of Krishna. Everybody here is a Krishna child. What is the difficulty of being able to serve the devotees of the Lord? Because there cannot be a healthy relationship without service. The service creates a bond in a relationship. Service creates a bond in a relationship. Therefore, the psychologists have warned us, if you don't want to create a bond, do not accept any service. So these are all scientific values, and we have to incorporate what we already know in the Vedic literature in our everyday realities and be able to create the change, the positive change we want in our society, we want in our communities, by engendering trust in our relationship, psychological safety, service attitude, honesty, respect. We want to gain the trust of somebody. We want to have healthy relationship with somebody. We have to respect that person. Respect their views. Just because my views are not in the same way you think, so I become your enemy? What is this? Oh, you sack me? You sack me from your society? What is this? We will definitely have differences of opinion. Our faces are not the same. Our priority sequence also varies. The way we think, our modus operandi and modus vivendi are always definitely different. So our thought patterns cannot be the same. But despite the differences or the diversity, there's a common factor we have, Krishna factor. That is the unifying force. So we should not say, well, you're my child, you're not agreeing with me, get out from this house. Oh, you're my spouse, you're my wife, you're not agreeing with me, okay, divorce. Or you're my husband, you're not agreeing with what I say, let's divorce. This is hogwash. Lack of understanding. What it takes to build a healthy relationship. We have to even inconvenience ourselves to please our loved ones. Opinions can never always be the same. I prefer that I work with somebody based on their opinion, based on what they want, than working according to my agenda. Why? Because if the things fail, I can accuse you that, hey, this is your idea, If the things work, then I say, oh, your ideas are wonderful. So I like to take that. I like to take that back seat, and therefore some people, they get really upset when the ideas are not accepted. Or some people get really angry and check you out if your idea is different. It hasn't got to be like that. Anyway, what's the time now?
7:35.
Okay, we have to stop there. Maybe there are some comments or some questions. This is a long stuff, Yeah, any comments or questions on what we have said so far? Topic is foundations for healthy relationships in Krishna conscious community. Yes, please.
What if a person is by nature more passionate, rajastic? It's quite difficult to. Theoretically, it's nice to have compassion and to be more tolerant. But what to do in that position? Is it only to serve, even if you don't feel to serve? Or
That's a nice question. Yeah, if someone, you see, I have had friends that nobody in the community is their friend. And I remember in one case, this guy, everybody in the community was complaining about him, but he's my friend. So then he come to say, but if I'm so bad, why is it that you, Vasudeva, are my friend? I said, see, I am psychologically adjustive. I adjust myself to suit other people's purpose. Other people don't have those skills, that skill. And so they have a problem with you. And you also, you are maladjusted. And so this is the problem. Majority of people are highly maladjusted. Not just passion or passionate. Maladjustment. And it's a serious psychological problem. They're not able to adjust themselves to suit anybody's purpose. That is by the principle of my way or the highway. So they may be passionate, they may be very much intense in their service or whatever, but they find it difficult to work with anybody. When you find people like that, you have to take the role of an adjusted person. Be adjusted to be able to deal with that. I remember recently by my personal assistant in New York was telling me about the challenges she was facing from her boss. She has a PhD. The boss does not have a PhD. So I said, listen, your boss cannot like you, okay? Understand that. Your boss cannot like you. So your boss will always create some problem for you to frustrate you and all this type of things. You now have to be adjusted to suit her purpose, so that you get along with her without getting overly disturbed. Understand? This is my own strategy. If I know this is the way you operate, this is the manner you operate. If I know your modus operandi and modus vivendi, I will not take anything you do and say as personal. I will understand. This is the way you act. Then I will ignore and then just get along with you. You may tell me, shut up, dear Vasudeva. I understand. This is the way you talk. And I get along with you. So adjustment, psychological adjustment is so important in creating healthy, sustainable relationships. If we are not adjusted and everyone else is maladjusted, society is just going to fall apart. Family is just going to fall apart. Somebody has to take that humble role of being adjusted to deal with all of these different caliber of people, Rajasic, Tamasic, whatever. That's my humble opinion. Any other comments? See, I went to South Africa before coming to Europe. And so the home I was staying is a U.S. diplomat to South Africa. The wife is my disciple. So we had a program, welcome program there. They invited people to come. So we had a program there. And then during the talk, there was time for question and answers. And the gentleman is an IT guy, big guy. He has, I think his first son is 17 years old. So I think he had some question about parent and child and all this. So I told him his kids were also there. 17 years old kid was also there. Then I told him that yes, this bad relationships in the family. I said parents are the cause. Then I gave him all the reasons and all this thing. So he told me afterwards that when I answered him like that, his son is 17 years old, just come to his face and look at him like this. Yeah, so we have to be adjustive, otherwise it works. We will have people who are, Rajasic. We will have people who are Tamasic. Few people are in the mode of goodness. In fact, in Kali Yoga, the Shastra says, Kalu Sudha Sambhava. We are dominated by the mode of ignorance. So that is even worse than Rajaku. So we have to be adjusted to deal with people based on their modus operandi and modus vivendi, the way they operate and the manner they operate, so that we don't take it personal. Yeah. Any other comments? Yes.
Also more personal relationship, like despite we all technically know we are jivas, but at the end, as much as I see, not only within ISKCON, but the other societies and outside people, we're so superficial. So the relationship is so superficial, so we should go deeper to really understand that behind that mind lies the soul, which is a person.
Exactly. That's how it should be. See, I ask questions like in America, I go to some temples and I ask that, so, because in America, this is a tradition in America. You have a problem with your wife, she can tell you, give you one suitcase and say, all right, check out from this place. When my mind comes down, then I can call you back. So suppose your wife comes to tell you, hey, check out. Ask, you have anybody in this community you can call and say, Prabhu, this is my problem, can I come hang out with you? Our relationships, right as you rightly mentioned, is so, in most cases, so artificial. We don't have close, neat relationship with other devotees. And therefore, when we are in problem, like in America, if you have a problem that your wife checks you out, you don't have a place to go. You can't go somebody and say, let me come over and stay at your place. There's some problem at home. I have asked this question in some cases, in most of the temples, and they don't have anybody. Yeah, we have the highest philosophy. Krishna is the lover of his friends. In Krishna's room, in Nanda Maharaja's palace, he sleeps on the bed. All over the floor, his friends are sleeping. That's the king's son. All over the floor, he has so many friends. In the night, even they sleep there with him. I remember in some cases, it's mentioned in the Govinda Lilamrita, in some cases, someone invites Krishna and his mom. And so they want all the Krishna to come. Okay, say Vrishabhanu and his wife, they invite Yasoda to come with Krishna. And then Krishna says, but he cannot go alone, he has to go with his friends. He said, he cannot go alone, he has to go with his friends. And the mother will beg him that, listen, they want only you and your parents, please. We know you love your friends, but on this occasion, they want privacy. So, Krishna showed us in his own exemplary life how friendly dealings, deep friendly dealings, is important for sustainable, healthy relations. So you're right. We have to cultivate authentic friendship. Okay, in the absence of any other comments, we would like to adjourn this meeting. Srila Prabhupada, okay.
Bhakti Vasudeva Swami ki.